Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gabriel.io, and I'm here today with Lekisha Middleton, the founder of the Good Success Network. Good afternoon, Lekisha. How you doing?
Great. Good afternoon. Not
So,
doing bad here.
good. How are things in Arlington today?
It's nice, actually.
Hmm.
Sunny and cool. So fall is my favorite time of year.
Well, it's also nice here, and we also like the fall here. So, to start with, can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Absolutely. So I've been in the tech industry for a little over 20 years now. And currently, I am the founder of the Good Success Network, and we're a management consulting and executive coaching firm. And we focus on creating a diverse future workforce. So, a lot of the work that we do is around transformation and change. And that's mostly in like business process, as well as organizational change, people development, and diversity as well.
Oh, very good. So, what has been your experience with remote employment, both as an employee, which I'm assuming you were for a while, and now as an employer?
So I actually thought about this question before we started today because I've always been in tech. I always actually had the option to work remote. I think about even back when I first started working, even if we were in the office and I had like a machine in the office, we had a laptop to carry home, right?
Mhm.
So, VPNing from home and that kind of thing was always a thing. So I think I always had some familiarity with
Mhm.
remote. In consulting, I traveled every single week and worked remote on Fridays. So, that was my first experience with true remote work. And now as a full-time entrepreneur, I am full-time remote unless I'm traveling to my client site, which I haven't done much this year because
Mhm.
of, COVID. But yeah, it's been a good experience.
Very good. And is
Yeah.
it safe to assume that you've racked up the air miles?
Oh gosh, I will tell you, I missed that.
Hmm.
I think I mentioned to you, I used to fly out west a lot out here from DC, and that's a very quick way to rack up some miles.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting back on the road or in the air very
In
soon.
the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're flying now. I've actually done a trip back east, one trip so far. It was interesting, but hopefully things will get back to normal soon.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the future of remote employment since you have that tech background, and they're building the products, and what do you think can be done differently to make it more effective?
So I think we both know, right? This year has really thrown us into, you hear people say future workforce, future workplace, future of work, whatever you want to call it. This industrial revolution where you talk about more remote workers and AI and automation and all these cool things. This pandemic has thrown us into that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So whether we were ready or not, we're here. And I think that a lot of things that the companies that were already, allowing their employees to work remote, I think they definitely were able to pivot a lot quicker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Than those employers that were not, and they just were not prepared. So I think companies will be challenged, and I think they have been challenged to really think about more of a hybrid mix,
Mm-hmm.
if anything, where there's only essential like office staff, that kind of worker inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just makes sense, right? It's more
Yeah.
cost effective. If your employees are being more productive from home, it just doesn't make sense to bring every single person in the office. So I really think I see it more of a hybrid model going
Mm-hmm.
forward.
And I think you're right. It'll be the option, and people will naturally come into the office when it makes sense to be together, right?
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, when you don't have to be, it's like, well, why am I gonna, go through an hour of traffic just to
Oh gosh.
be in the
Yes.
same place as someone, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there are certain jobs they have to be in the office, but others, it'll be more of like I said, an option. So, what is the story behind the Good Success Network? It's a wonderful name, but I'm sure you do more than bring good success. I'm sure you do other things, right?
Yeah. So it's a couple things behind the name. So um when I worked in corporate, at some point I think we all hit that big wall in our career where we kind of just, whether it's a crazy project or just a life change or you're turning 40 or 50 or something, right? Where
Hmm.
you stop and reflect on, what am I doing with my life? And do I want to continue doing this? And at some point, I really realized that good success was about defining success on my terms. So
Mhm.
many times we end up in careers, we end up going to schools based on, whether our parents wanted us to do these things, it's things that were expected of us, it's expectations we put on ourselves, right? False
Mhm.
expectations. It really wasn't what we wanted. And I really just wanted the power to define success and what that meant to me as far as my career and the impact I wanted to make in the work that I did. So that's the story behind the company.
Interesting. And do you, when the people you work with, are they executives? Are they solopreneurs? Are they a little bit of everything?
Yeah, they're a little bit of everything. So my
Mm.
executive coaching includes both business owners as well as like C-level VP, director level executives. And I actually work, and I have worked in the past, everybody from frontline to CEO, right? Because I do organizational change. So you
Mhm.
have to be able to communicate at every level of the organization. So for most of my coaching, it is mostly executive, but I also do team coaching as well. And anytime I'm doing a change project, I pretty much touch every level of the organization. And that's from big global companies to even the startups.
Interesting. That's got to be quite a different skill set, right? I mean, the CEO of even a Fortune 5,000 company is much different than a solopreneur, right?
Yes, it is. And the funny thing is being kind of a solopreneur right
Hmm.
now, I'm able to relate to a lot of the struggles, that
Hmm.
solopreneurs experience with trying to run a company and do the work, being bogged down with administrative tasks, that kind of thing. So really just helping, especially new entrepreneurs to navigate that process, especially if they have a service-based business, right? Which is mostly I work with consultants and coaches.
Hmm. Yes, very interesting. So, I mean, you work remote, but how do you like coach people that now have to work remote? Right, the ongoing pandemic has caused everybody to go remote, and especially in the big companies, a lot of them didn't have remote policies. Now they have to. How did you work through all that?
Well, the funny thing is, I was always doing virtual coaching before this happened. So most of my clients are in tech.
Hmm.
They don't mind, right? I was using Zoom before Zoom was a thing.
Hmm.
So that was pretty cool as well. But I will be honest, I miss the in-person like workshops and that kind of thing, right? I'm a people person. So
Hmm.
there's nothing, as much as I love tech, I don't think anything will ever replace human interaction, right? Face to face. So I do miss that part of my job, but people really have been adjusting. Um,
Hmm.
and I think also most of my clients are pretty high performing. So I think that also means they're resilient as well. So they kind of just pivot, right?
They just figure it out.
Yeah, but honestly, I'll be honest with you. I've had conversations with my clients about digital burnout
Hmm.
and self-care, right? And just making sure that they still feel connected to people even if they can't see people. So a lot of my coaching this year has been a lot around just making sure people are taking care of themselves while they're still trying to perform well at work, get promoted and those types of things.
Interesting. So I mean, the stay in place from the pandemic's been going on for a good 8 7 8 months now. So did that cause any challenges for you that you didn't expect, or for your customers, or besides the lack of air miles?
Yeah, it definitely did. So early this year, like mid-January to March, I was having a lot of conversation with potential clients around work,
Hmm.
and everything came to a screeching halt
Hmm.
in March. And it, I mean, the first half of this year was very challenging for my business.
Hmm.
I really was not bringing in a lot of work. Definitely not what I had forecasted that I would bring in last
Hmm.
year, that I would bring in this year. But even then, I believe in March, I was talking to different, clients, them thinking, projecting that, oh, things will pick up around July and August. And that's exactly what happened. And I think that's just naturally people take about that amount of time, about 90 days to kind of adjust to any big change.
Hmm.
And then they're, willing to, okay, have conversations again. So the first half of the year was rough, but business is booming now. So
Yeah, I wonder if you experienced the same thing we did. It's like
mhm,
before the pandemic, it was hard to get someone to talk to you or to do a pet podcast, or then all of a
mhm.
sudden they're working from home. It's like, oh yeah, I'll talk to you. What the heck? But they didn't want to commit to any business, right? And,
Yeah.
and now I agree, seems things are picking up. Would you agree?
Yeah. And I mean, from your perspective, right? I
Hmm.
think this has also caused people to think about, especially if you're a thought leader or just an expert in your industry. A lot of people I know have been doing podcasts and doing speaking engagements, and because you don't have to travel to all these conferences.
Hmm.
I literally went to a conference. I think I went to two in the Bay and one in New York, like in the same week, right?
Hmm.
So
Wow.
virtually though,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's all on, it's all on Zoom or WebEx or whatever. So I think that ability opens up so many windows for people to consider podcasting and those kind of things. So hopefully that's been working out for you all because yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we are busy doing them. So to end with, there's companies like Gaper that help develop, build, and scale products for all size companies.
Mhm.
And you actually coach executives. I mean, is this part of the thing you tell them is, hey, you don't have to have someone that comes into your office every day. You can get talent from anywhere in the world. Is that one of the things they now consider?
Oh, absolutely. And I think if, whatever you call it, right? Whether it's gig economy or freelancing or whatever, it's I think the forward thinking, like the more innovative companies, and again, I work in tech, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of my companies they're already there. Where
Hmm.
they've been using tech has been using contractors forever,
Right.
right? They've been doing staff augmentation forever. So they get both the cost effectiveness of it and the efficiency of it. Because a company like Gaper, right, who thoroughly vets resources, that's something you don't have to worry about. And if you need an engineer or someone, you can just get them, whether it's on a project basis, on a long-term basis. It
Hmm.
just makes sense. It's more cost efficient for your company. And in cases where, that person works out, they continue to use that person, right?
Right.
But I think just like we talk about hybrid with remote versus in person, I think a hybrid workforce mix makes sense too, right? Have
Hmm.
some full-time employees, some part-time, other, freelance and consultants, but talent is talent.
Hmm.
So I think the companies that used to, start working right after college or high school and work there 30, 40 years, it just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
So companies have to be more creative. And yeah, I do talk to my leaders because I work again with org structure. And that is something we recommend. Like, do you really need a full-time person for this role? Or is this someone you can bring on for 6 to 12 months and then get accomplished what you need to get accomplished?
Yeah, what I tell most people is executives is if it's your core product, you should have your employees building it.
Yes,
But
agreed.
anything else, it's open, right? There's no sense in paying top dollar for, there's certain people that are very skilled at what they do and you need them in your company. But a lot of this, like, integrations to Salesforce, there's probably tens of thousands of people that can do. There's probably even more, to be honest with you.
Especially now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah. People now have had time to, they got extra time on their hands, so they're brushing up on their skills.
yeah.
Well, Lekisha, I want to thank you for your time today. This has been very interesting. Good luck to the Good Success Network,
Thank
and
you.
I know it's close to the weekend there, so I'm gonna tell you
Yes.
have a good weekend.
Thank you. You did the same.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.